Hello there, badgers. Please love and blessings, girl. Please love and blessings, all you wonderful badgers. Right. Been a while since I last did political, one of those, political tests. On this occasion, we're going to be doing the 12 axes political test. So let's have a look. Is as usual presented with a series of statements for each one. Click the button with your opinion on it. Click one of the options. So I'm going to do the long version. So this is going to be a long video. So if you're not into that, just switch off or come back later. Now I think the last time I did one of these, it put me as a democratic socialist. So I am interested to see where I'm put this time. Let's have a look. So, question 1: all my products should be made in all products should be made in my country. No, not all products. So I'm going to go neutral for that one. I say that because on one hand, you do want a certain amount of things to be made in your country, but on the other hand, you do global trade for diplomatic reasons as well. And not only that, but people want things from other countries. So yeah, I think staying neutral on that one is a good position. Question 2: every person has unalienable rights, including the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, right, so the whole American thing, that's very America coded. Well, I mean, yeah, I agree with that one. Like, I don't see why not. Laws should vary from area to area and culture to culture within a country. I disagree with this. I really do. To a point. I think there should be. I think it should be kind of a set of national laws, and then in certain areas where certain laws need to be modified, then you do so. So I'm going to go partially agree with that. No, hang on. Partially disagree with that. State and local laws should, question 4, state and local laws should have precedence over national laws. Now this, again, is very America coded, but if I was to translate that to our system here in the United Kingdom, and even more focused here in England, then I'm going to put no. I'm going to disagree with that. Not strongly, but I'm going to disagree with that. I prefer a planned economy. Question 5. I prefer a planned economy over a free and open economy. Now, I'm not an economist. I have tried to learn about economics, and I feel like right now we can't just go right. No, that's it. It's the end of capitalism. Like we need because I don't think anyone really has a proper plan to move to a non-capitalist society. However, I do believe that a government should be able to intervene in the market. So I partially agree with that. Autocracy is the best way to rule a nation. I disagree with that strongly. I'm not even going to go into why. I'm not a fan of autocracy. An ideal nation must mostly stay neutral during foreign affairs, as question 7. An ideal nation must mostly stay neutral during foreign affairs. Well, that depends. I think that question is kind of annoying because to me, the answer can be context dependent. So, I mean, this is an ideal nation, but like, I don't think I have a, I don't think anyone really has a fully square idea as to what an ideal nation really is. So, I'm going to partially disagree on that. Just because I have issues with the question. Question 8. Nobody but me can adequately represent my views. Now, yes, I'm going to say this because, at the moment at least, because I don't I have not been able to find a British political party that adequately represents my views. However, I don't think that I'm the one that to be. How do I put this? I don't think I am the ideologue to try and push my views, if that makes sense. So, yeah, but partially. Because again, for me, that question is context dependent. Question 9. It is very important to maintain law and order. Now, I actually agree with this. I think if you just allow everyone to do whatever you want, crimes included, that's just not a great way to have society, is it? Law and order is good, but law and order needs to serve the people, not rule the people. So yeah. Anyway, question 10 of 288. We should be more accepting to other cultures. I strongly agree with that. Sharia law isn't as bad as people think it is. I don't know the ins and outs of Sharia law, but I know it's a more conservative type of societal law. So I'm going to go partially disagree. An unregulated economy will never succeed. Really? Yeah. You have. I mean, look at the way the Tories tried to remove loads of regulation. It just broke more things. So yeah, I agree with that. Communism, if implemented correctly, would be a good form of economics. At small scale, yes. I just don't believe that there is evidence to show that it would be good on large scale. So I can go partially agree with that one. If we continue human technological progress, humanity is doomed. Not necessarily, no. Partially disagree with that one. Immigrants should be expected to learn the language of the country. Actually, yes. Like, if you're going to move to another country, you should learn the language of that country. True, that country should also, teach its citizens how to speak several languages, but you should learn the language of the country you're moving to. I do agree with that. That's question 15. Laws should be completely consistent within all regions of a nation. Again, going in relation to the other one, I'm going to partially agree because it's context dependent. Question 17. Economies without any capitalism, will collapse. I'm unsure on that one. Again, not an economist, so I don't know how that would work. Most, if not all, economic crises are caused by government intervention. No? I mean, the banking crisis was less government intervention, because of less government intervention, so I'll disagree with that one. United Nations needs more power. I strongly agree with that. Concept of a free market should be extended to, and this is question 20, the concept of a free market should be extended towards global trade as well. Again, I'm not an economist, so, or a trade expert, so I'll go neutral. Government surveillance is necessary in the modern world. To a point. I couldn't treat this as an absolute, so I'd say partially. We must preserve our culture. Partially. Yeah, but I partially agree. Question 23. Genetic modification should be used rarely, if ever. Hmm, that depends. If you need genetically modifying to make something resistant to disease, and it's properly researched, then partially agree with that. I, question 24. We should pay reparations for the descendants of slaves. Yes. Question 25. Only those who serve in the military should be allowed to have influence on who is in power. No, I strongly disagree with that. Alliances can pose a threat to a nation's sovereignty. Well, yeah, but that's if you see that as a threat. So I'm going to disagree with that. Economic classes are inevitable. Again, it's an absolute question. Question 27. Economic classes are inevitable. Do they have to be inevitable? I don't know. I don't think I've really thought about that question, if I'm honest. I mean, last time I came on, I did this, I must have pressed unsure or neutral. Because I don't think, I still, right now, can't think of... Yeah, you know what, I'm gonna... Economic classes are inevitable. So, I mean, if I apply that, the way I think to that, in evolutionary terms, do humans always go for some kind of hierarchical structure? Maybe. I'll partially agree with that. No cultures are superior to others. Yeah. A country cannot function without a national government. As in today's... yeah, I'd agree with that. Hierarchical state is best. I don't see... No, I disagree with that. I believe that it would be best if you had a council and someone who is elected to speak for that council rather than that person who's been elected being an actual elected leader. If that makes sense. The general populace makes poor decisions. Well, I mean, right now there's certainly a lot of evidence to say that yeah, they certainly do. So I'll partially agree with that. Without tariffs, my country's economy will likely fail. Again, I'm not an economist, so I don't really know how this works. I'm going to go unsure. Question 33. I believe there is something after death. No, yes, I do. But, I'm not someone who wants to say that everyone has to agree with that. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase temporary safety deserve neither. So what that question essentially implies then is you must not compromise on either's. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase temporary safety. deserve neither. I agree with that to a point. Capitalism is better than any existing alternative. Well, what alternative? I can agree with that, but on the point of what alternative? No authority should be left unquestioned. Yes. Question 37. We should be taking in more refugees. I mean, yeah. Abortion should be legal. Yeah. Alliances are important for protecting a nation. Yes. In order for humanity to survive, we must go past having separate nations. I have mused on this notion before, and I don't know where I stand on it. So, I'm going to partially agree with this, but I'm still more closer to neutral than full agreement. Question 41. To chase progress at all costs is dangerous. I'll agree with that. Question 42. Economic planning ensures maximum prosperity and growth. Not necessarily. But again, as I said earlier, some intervention by the government I think is good. Those who disagree with the government should be removed from the country. No. People should vote issue by issue themselves. Is that direct democracy? No, not necessarily. States cannot function without a strong national government. I think right now this is true. But you also need a strong national government as well. Question 46. I consider myself an atheist. Well, no. All humans share a common identity. Technically, yeah. Regulations on industries must be implemented to protect the environment. Fucking right they do. Government must intervene in foreign exchange market to higher import prices. See, again, this is economics, and I don't know what. So I'm going to go partially agree because it goes with my point of the government should be able to intervene, but I could be wrong. Question 50 of 228. Each person should have one vote, each equal to every other. Yeah. I support the LGBTQ plus movement. Yeah. Strongly. 52. The government actively works with large corporations to destroy small businesses. Not necessarily, no. The state knows what an economy needs. Knows best what an economy needs. I mean, partially. It is more important to retain peaceful relations than to further our strength. To a point, yeah. It is important that the government follows the majority opinion even if it's wrong. Again, to a point, yeah. In general, immigrants are bad for the country. I'm going to disagree with that one. Question 57. Governments should be as concerned about foreign citizens as they are about those within their borders. Yes. Any deals other countries want must be bad for us. Not necessarily, no. 59. Our national language should be spoken only our national language / languages should be spoken in our country. Not necessarily, no. The free of the market, free of the people. Maybe? I'm not entirely sure. Again, I'm not any economics, but I do believe that government should have some intervention in the market so that the market doesn't decide everything for everyone. If not most, if not all corporations are inherently evil. I mean, yeah, but no. I mean, yeah, they want to make as much profit as possible for themselves, but like they don't do it. Like most corporations don't do it just to be cruel and evil. I don't think. So I'm gonna go neutral on that one. Question 62 of 288. People born to wealthy families have unfair success even when they aren't skilled and don't work hard. Yes, I agree with that. A government must maintain a strong military to defend itself. I do agree with that. Most organised religions contradict themselves to a point. Immigrants are a net positive. Yep. Question 66. International aid is a waste of money most of the time. No. Victimless crimes such as drug use should not be crimes at all. Drug use? Yeah. A nation usually needs a military in order to survive. Well, yeah, in the end. Police need more power and protection. Nah. I'm going to go partially disagree with that one. Question 70. It's better to maintain a balanced budget than to ensure welfare for all citizens. I'm going to disagree with that. Not when when your country has the wealth to do so. So no. Creationism is a myth. Yeah. Traditional medicines are often more effective than modern medicines. No. Maintaining family values is essential. Sort of. Faith is complete nonsense. No, I'm going to disagree with that because I am a man of faith. Transhumanism isn't as radical as many people think it is. I should disagree with that. Question 76. Illegal immigrants do not provide benefit to the hosting country. Disagree. Because I don't believe in illegal immigrants. Theocracy is a good system of government. The question 77. No, it's not. High tariffs are needed to protect local industries. Again, that's the whole thing about tariffs. I don't know. Hourly minimum wage should be 15 USD or more. £15 or more? Yeah, sure. Question 80. Elections are an effective way of showing government approval. Yeah, I agree with that. Gender is a social construct. Yeah. War is never justified. No. Technical and scientific knowledge should be protected from other countries. Not necessarily. I agree. I support regional unions such as the European Union. Yep. Technology must be slowed down to protect the environment. A little bit, yeah. Classes should not exist. I would love it if they didn't. Foreigners should never enter the country. No. Question 88. Having independent nations with the risk of global conflict creates a large threat to humanity as a whole. Having independent nations with the risk of global conflict. Well, yeah, but it doesn't have to, does it? Question 89. I believe in a higher power. Well, I do, yeah. Government should not regulate the economy at all. No. Humanity has passed the point which war is needed for resources. I mean, it should be, yeah. Democracy is inefficient and slow. Well, again, yeah, but it doesn't have to be. Traditions are important, yeah. The wealthy have far more than they need. Oh, fucking right they do. Subdivisions of nations should have their own militaries. There's a question. I'm gonna go partially disagree because ideally you shouldn't need it, but you never know. The internet should be banned. No. Society has become too progressive. No. An absolute monarchy is more preferable than a liberal democracy. Absolutely fucking not. Question 99. The government should not fund any religious organisations in any way. Yes. Uh, question 100 out of 288. Sex before marriage is immoral. I don't agree with that. The sacrifice of some civil liberties is necessary to protect us from acts of terrorism. Okay, maybe. Export subsidies should be used for protecting local industries. Oh, I agree with that. Everybody should speak at least 2 languages. Yeah, I agree with that. It is important that we maintain the traditions of our past, to a point. Nobody in other countries has our best interest in mind. Well, yeah, maybe. Our nations fighting amongst each other gets in the way of progress. Absolutely agree with that. My nation is better than all others. Not necessarily. Certainly not on all grounds. Planned economies never perform as well as free markets. Well, it depends on what you're looking at. Trade is often beneficial to both parties. I agree with that one. We should not allow any refugees. Strongly agree with that. Strongly disagree, sorry. Question 111. Government should be accountable to the international community. To a point. Countries fall apart with constant war. Yep. My nation should stay out of international affairs. Nope. The government should have access to the emails of suspected terrorists. Yeah. Nations should cooperate whenever it benefits them both. Yep. Religion is beneficial for society. Protectionism is unnecessary and unrealistic idea. Yeah. Any variant of anarchism will never work. No, not necessarily. The United Nations should have a military to enforce its resolutions. I agree with that. At least it needs more teeth. Strong states weaken a nation. No? Again, we don't have the same kind of thing here in the UK, so it's a bit different. 121. People should not have protections that could hinder discovering their criminal activity. I'm going to partially disagree with that. And that's because I think that you should need the police or investigative services should need actual cause to be able to go looking, not just be able to go looking. 122. Genetic modification is a force for good, even on humans. Unsure on that one. Countries that do not serve our interests should be toppled. No, not necessarily. Not if they're not doing us any problems. No. International trade is generally beneficial. Yeah. We should respect those who have served in the military to a point. Religion must decline for society to progress, not necessarily. Local governments can understand their citizens better than the national government could, most of the time, yeah. Um, legal, illegal immigrants should be deported in most of all cases. Well, again, it's not illegal, it's irregular, but no. Technological progress is usually good. Yeah. Local products are often poor in quality. No, not necessarily. Public opinion swings too much with emotional events to be useful for policy making. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It all depends on how you read that public opinion. Absolute equality is good. Absolute equality. Okay. Socialism will never has socialism will never has and will never work. I think that's supposed to say socialism never has and will never work. I'm like, what? Weirdest structure to a sentence I've seen in a while. No. We are first and foremost citizens of Earth. Yep. Intervention has caused more harm than good. That depends on what kind of intervention you're talking about. People should hold more loyalty to their local state than to their country. Not necessarily. Fully privatised healthcare is a better means of providing healthcare than single-payer systems. Bullshit. A united world government would be beneficial to mankind. Yeah? Statues of certain people should be taken down. Yeah, I'd agree with that. The national government needs more power. Not necessarily. Government has no business looking into most people's personal lives. I'd partially agree with that, yeah. Question 142. Most, if not all businesses must be owned by the government. No. Economic regulation causes more harm than good. No. People should have the power to choose their leaders. Yup. Representatives rarely represent the nation well. Not necessarily. If we accept migrants at all, it is important they assimilate into our culture. Yeah. At least, like, not alienate themselves within our culture. I enjoy some foreign cultures, yeah. Countries that violate human rights should be toppled. I mean, I want to say yeah, but like, yeah, it's a bit. I'm a bit like, who has the right to go intervening in other people's nations? Laws should be not based on religion. Yep. Taxation should be voluntary or abolished. Nope. There must be a separation between church and state. Yep. The right to bear arms should not be infringed. Tariffs should be lowered. I don't know. There should be compulsory military service. Nah. Immigrants can never really adapt to our way of life. No, not necessarily. I mean, again, most countries are built off of other people moving there in the first place, so no. Developing alternative technology is a better means of helping the environment than environmental regulations. Not necessarily. Lasting peace leads to prosperity. I mean, to a point, yeah. There's always a point of where you do need to recognise stagnation. Class war is a real important issue. Yeah, I actually agree with that. I support single payer universal healthcare. Yep. A military option should always be considered. I mean, yeah, as the last consideration, there is no need for a national government. You know, whistleblowers are good for society. Yes. The world must cooperate together in terms of economics. Yeah. I don't think it's great if you've got countries with completely different economic structures, especially if we're supposed to be all trying to be getting on. So yeah, taxation is theft. No. People's freedoms should have no limits. Not necessarily. I'm transhumanist. No. My country spends too much on the military. My country fucking doesn't. It just spends money in the wrong fucking place. It's in the wrong places more often than not. America, yeah, but not the UK, no. Or at least England. Question 168. Modern technology and modern lifestyle has made life meaningless and dull. No. Again, it all depends on how you perceive it. So, we have no right to militarily intervene in other nations. To a point, I agree with that. Our culture would be better with other cultures mixed in more. Yep. I oppose human genetic modification to a point. Private charities are a better means of helping the poor than public welfare is. Nope. Privatisation is needed for economic success. No, not necessarily. The government must be by the people for the people. Yep. Taxation is theft. Just did that, but I'm going to disagree again. Religious organisations often provide better assistance to the poor than the government does. No, I'm going to disagree with that. Private property should be abolished. To a point, yeah. Same-sex marriages should be legalised. Yeah, yep, strongly agree with that one. I support the Black Lives Matter movement. Yeah, I agree with that one. Military spending is a waste of money. I disagree with this. Global economic cooperation will generally lead to positive outcomes. Yeah, I agree with that. National government must be strong, to adequately protect all of its citizens. I mean, yeah. The government should monitor all citizens to combat terrorism. Partially disagree with that. Quality of life is generally going up decade by decade. Well, it was. It was. People should think of themselves as citizens of their nation rather than their state. Why not both? Children should be educated in religious values. No. We should continue developing AI even if that means we're going to be replaced. No, not necessarily. People should be allowed to follow a religion. Yeah. A nation must obey its leadership without question. No. My religion is true. Well, I mean, yeah. White guilt is sometimes justified. Yeah. The government should support and only recognise one religion. Nope. The national government can't understand what the people need. Not necessarily. The national government protects minorities better than some local governments do. Well, you can do. Foreign products are as good as local products. They can be, yeah. Traditions are of no value on their own. Of a social value, yes, because they give a story. Because traditions usually have a story attached to them, a history attached to them. So, no. and stories are important for human society, and always have been. The government should control the market as minimally as possible. Not necessarily. Catering to a popular opinion is detrimental to a nation. I mean, I can see how it can be. Environmental regulations are essential. Yep. A better world will come from automation, science, and technology. Yeah. My religious values should be spread as far as possible. I mean, no. State laws should have precedence over national laws. No. There are many issues that it does not make sense to address at local level. There are many issues that it does. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. Economic globalization is inevitable. I mean, yeah, I think so. Most economic problems we see today are not caused by capitalism but by government. Well, no, not necessarily. A constant state of war benefits a country. No. People should have the right to leave their wealth to their descendants. No, not necessarily. A direct democracy is the best form of government. Nope. Tradition just hinders the progress of humanity. Not necessarily. The United Nations should be abolished. Nope. Economic globalism caused more negative impacts than positive ones. I suppose that depends on your perspective. I'll go neutral on that one. Question 212. High levels of economic regulation is good for my nation. Yeah. It is necessary for the government to intervene in your economy to protect consumers. Yeah, I agree with that. Taxation for the rich should be higher than it is now. Yep. Diplomatic options should always be tried before war is even considered. Yep. Subdivisions should not be able to exempt from national laws. Yeah? I think so. I think I understand what that question means in any case. The Enlightenment should never have happened. No. A nation's culture is important to protect. Local governments should have more power than they currently do. Yes. Society should not function without. Society could not function without leaders and followers. I mean, it'd be nice to imagine that it couldn't, but I'm going to say no for now. Religion in government should be eliminated. Yes. All societies are a blend of cultures. I mean, yeah, to a point, yeah. Only those who served in the military should be able to gain power in government. Absolutely fucking not. Some freedoms should be given up in order to keep people safe. Yeah? Question 225. When people have already suffered for technology to be developed, we should use that technology. Yeah. It's a good idea to test a policy in one state rather than implementing it nationwide right away. That depends, but I can in general agree with that. Tariffs should be eliminated. I don't know about that one. Democracy makes it too easy for a majority to further itself at the expense of minorities. Well, yeah, but there are cases where you get minorities furthering themselves at the expense of everyone else, so I disagree with that. Governments must break up monopolies to ensure fairness from the market. I agree with that. The threat of machines taking over humanity is very real, and I'm not on board with that. Equality of outcome is important. Yep. Patents should be protected to prevent other countries from outcompeting my country. Sure. Marijuana should be legal. Yep. National cultures are important to protect. Sure. Only extremely talented immigrants, if that, should be permitted to enter the country. Well, no. Technology is making people lose jobs, which is ultimately harmful for humanity. Not necessarily, no. Elections are a waste of resources. I disagree. Anyone who wants to enter the country should be able to a point. Democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others that we tried, and I agree with that. There is no higher power, I'm going to disagree with that. Religion should be banned, I'm going to disagree with that. A group of states without a strong national government is merely an alliance, not a nation. Group of states without a strong national government. Sure. The more people asked, the better chance there is of reaching the best decision. Sure. War is needed to make an economy thrive, not necessarily, no. In the modern era, militaries aren't really necessary. Well, evidently not. Nations should not mean to what? Taxation for the rich should be very high, yes. Benefits of open borders would outweigh the costs. Again, without economic regulation, monopolies will dominate the market. Yeah. Border protection is important to a point. Society was better many years ago than it is now. Not many years ago. We should put effort into getting a person on Mars in the near future. Yeah. Democracy is more than just a decision-making process. Yep. Services like roads should be publicly owned. Strongly agree with that. People should have to get to work. Should have to work for anything they get, not necessarily. If you have nothing to hide, then you have nothing to fear. No, not necessarily. Question 257 of 288. So we're nearly through all this. We must actively promote foreign products. Can do. The very existence of the state is a threat to our liberty. Again, that depends how you see things. I'm going to say partially disagree with that one, because I've never really felt that I've been overly analysed by the government. So anyway, 259. Income taxes for middle and lower classes should be lower. Yeah. Military action by our nation is often necessary to protect it. Yeah. No, I'm going to go disagree with that one. Question 261 of 288. The government should prioritise my country over all others. Essentially. Popular opinion is not always right. Yeah, I can agree with that one. Local governments address issues that the national government would never touch without them. Possibly. Homosexuality is immoral. No. The elders in society know the best path for it, not necessarily. Look what we've got now. The government should encourage local production and consumption. Yeah. Religion is important for society, to a point. Affirmative action is mostly beneficial. Yeah. Local governments give each region good representation of their views. Yeah. I prefer collectivism over individualism. Not sure on that one. Technological progress and innovation cannot be stopped. Well, it can, but not really. Not eventually. Excessive government intervention is a threat to the economy. Excessive government intervention. Maybe. Restrictions on trade are bad for the economy. It can be. Peace is preferable to war whenever possible. Yep. We must return to a primitive lifestyle. No. There should not be international law. No. A country must be sure to take all measures to enforce its laws. I mean, yeah. It is important to maintain our national sovereignty to a point. Most bad things happening in the world are caused by us turning away from religion. No. UBI is a better means of providing welfare when compared to the current welfare system. I'm not entirely sure about that. 281 out of 288, so we're very nearly finished now. If AI could rule more effectively than humans, then AI should rule. No. Currently, taxation is too complex and should be simplified. I get them. Right? I'm not an economist, so I don't know. Possibly. Humanity has progressed beyond the need for religion. Maybe. 284. The government should not regulate the economy at all. No. I only buy products that are made in my country. No. Foreign products should be banned or heavily restricted from entry. No. Homosexuality should be criminalised. No. Last question, there is no need for local or state governments. No. So, where does it put me? In the first branch is structure, and it calls me a centrist. So, it has federal versus unitary, and apparently I'm 55% towards unitary instead of being a federalist. Interesting. I think that was different last time, but it still says I'm around 50-50 for that one. Representation, representative democracy. 63.5% democracy, 36.5% autocratic. Interesting. Power. It's calling me a centrist again. 45% for security, 55% for freedom. So more about freedom than security, but it's a closed run thing. On intervention, I'm more about cooperation over now. So I'm 71% internationalist over 29% nationalist. Interesting. Diplomacy, it puts me as a neutral. I'm 56.5% pacifist over 43.5% militarist, but that's still, it's still fairly neutral. Immigration, polyculturalist. 68% for multiculturalism over the 32% for assimilationist. Interesting. Economy, social democratic. 66% for collectivise and 34% for privatise. Control, regulationism. 67% planned, 33% for the markets. Interesting. Trade calls me moderate. 46.5% protectionism, 53.5% globalist. Interesting. Religion, moderate. Literally 50-50. Like I believe in the gods. I believe in the gods, right? But I don't believe that my religion should be pushed. So I don't believe religion should be banned. So yeah, it puts me as a moderate on religion, and that I'm literally 50-50. That's an interesting result. Culture, 69% progressive, 31% tradition. Interesting. And technology, neutral. Interesting. That are 52.5% technology and 47.5% for bioconservative. Interesting. It's calling me a social liberalist. So now it's calling me a social liberal. Apparently, I'm a lib. According to this, I'm a lib. Despite the fact that I want, on the economy, I'm way more for collectivization than I am privatization, and on control of the economy, I'm more about regulation than I am markets. So I don't know if that's got me correct, but I mean, on the economy, it calls me a social democrat. Representative democracy. Have I become a bit more a little bit more centrist or something? I'm definitely heavily progressive, as I was saying, putting it here. But again, on the economy and control, it puts me fairly heavy on the side of socialism. I wonder what section here is what takes me away from the socialist side of things. Maybe the structure. I don't know. Well, last time it called me a democratic socialist, and this time it's calling me a social liberal. So I'm like, okay, interesting. I don't take this as a be all end all. Obviously, I consider myself to be a democratic socialist. But like this seems to think that I've moved a bit on some of my on some of these things. Have a go yourself. Let me know what you think. Let me know what the results were for you on this, because I do find it interesting every time I do one of these, that because on one of them it called me a Trotskyist. That was fairly early on in my political evolution. It was when I first started doing this. So yeah, this is quite an interesting result, I reckon. So let me know what you think. I'm interested. I find it curious that it's got me as a social liberal, but it doesn't tell me what, like, social liberalism, yeah, but you can be socialist and socially liberal. So I don't really know what it means by that. Let me know what you think it means. What you think it means by that, because it's not calling me a classical liberal. It's not calling me a neoliberal. It's calling me a social liberal. So what, can it not make out what I am economically? Or what? I don't know. So yeah, and also, have a go yourself. Let me know how you compare to where I sat. So yeah, I thought this was again, don't get me wrong, I don't take this as the be all and end all. I still consider myself a democratic socialist by the values that I hold. But I do find these things useful just to see where it looks like I may have changed in some of my values. It looks like I may have changed a little bit on technology. It kind of looks like I've changed a bit on religion, from what I remember from last time. Trade as well seems like I may have moved on that. I don't think I've moved on either the economy or control. I think I may have moved a little bit on immigration, but if anything, I've moved even further towards being multiculturalist rather than assimilationist. Diplomacy, neutral. I might have been a bit more militarist last time, maybe. I don't know. Power calls me a centrist. Maybe I was a bit more about freedom last time, because it's saying 55% freedom, 45% security. So maybe I was a bit more towards one than the other on that one last time. I don't know. It's just very interesting, because I know there are differences to the last time I did this. So yeah, let me know how you guys fare. Let me know what you guys think of of the result of how my results have come out this time. And what did you reckon I would going through those questions? What did you think I was going to end up as? That's an interesting question. So yeah, Freaks, Lufo and Blettinger. Freaks, love and blessings. You wonderful badgers. Please have a wonderful evening, and yeah, look after yourselves.